Hello my friends, how are you recently? It snowed last week, and the temperature is almost 5 degrees below zero during the night. I just love it when it snows all night, and the next morning you open the door, you're greeted by a world covered in snow. It's like all of a sudden everything lost its color, and the world turns to black and white. Talking about colors, I want to share a secret about myself that shaped my life choices as an artist. My parents have been encouraging me to take all kinds of art lessons since primary school: singing, drawing, Chinese calligraphy, flute, piano, and stage reading. I was a shy and sensitive child. In a certain sense, I still am today. Art was the best way, if not the only way, to express myself. One of my favorite teachers was my singing teacher. She was a middle-aged woman who lived alone in a house near the beach to the east of my city. Every Saturday morning, I spent 1 hour at her house singing. She has a slender figure, often wearing patterned wool skirts and black boots. She likes to tie her hair tightly into a bun, making her look like a serious ballet dancer. She was respectful yet very strict. There was a grand piano in the center of her hexagon-shaped living room. I would stand singing by the window next to the piano, and she played it while giving me occasional instructions. How I cherished those moments with her. When I reached puberty, my voice began to change. She told me that it's better I stop singing for a year until my voice stabilizes. I was quite disappointed. I remembered at the end of the last singing lesson, she asked me to sit down next to her in front of the piano. She asked me if I have played piano before. I said, never. Then she took my hand and put it on the piano keys. Play something, she said encouragingly. I was ridiculously scared to make a sound because I'm afraid to make a fool of myself playing an instrument that I don't know. She waited patiently in silence. After a minute or two, I gently pushed my fingers onto the keys of the piano. A round and warm sound came out. The sensation of making a sound on the piano sent a thrill of joy through me. She smiled at me and said, "See, you don't need a good voice to make music." When I got home later that day, I insisted on my parents taking me to piano lessons so that I could continue making music. Thanks to this teacher, I never gave up taking music and art lessons. After graduating from high school, I considered to pursue a career in the creative industry. At that time in China, all student applicants for university must go through a physical exam. And I learned from this exam that I suffer from severe color blindness. I was shocked by the result. Because Chinese art schools may refuse students with daltonism. Disappointed, I chose to study science. Although I have never abandoned completely my art practice, for a long time I only work in black and white. I was convinced that I could never see the true colors of this world as other people do. I never talk about my color blindness with other people. It was my secret as a painter. After university, I came to France to continue my studies in the domain of cognitive science. I began to visit art museums in Paris, especially Musée de l'Art Moderne and Centre Pompidou. For the first time in my life, I saw paintings of Matisse, Bonnard, and Derain in person. These modern art period French painters used such a bold color palette. Matisse painted human figures in brilliant red and blue. Bonnard painted his house interiors with all the colors you can imagine in this world. The Han painted French landscapes with saturated yellow and viridian blue. For modern art artists, color is merely a tool that we manipulate as we wish to create an interesting image. The goal of an artist is not to copy the exact color of the subject, but to use their own color palette to represent the subject in order to convey a certain emotion, atmosphere, mood, or simply beauty. This realization alleviates my fear of colors. I began to paint more and more with a bold color palette. From time to time, I may still feel trapped in self-doubt. Is this the right color? Is this green enough? Or is it light orange? And I will remind myself with the words of my singing teacher. You don't need a good voice to make music. Color blindness is a genetic disease. I was born with this condition and have to live with it. But it mustn't stop me from making art. Painting is a way of self-expression. It is fundamentally personal. What we paint, how we paint, reveals who we are and how we perceive this world. We're part of humanity as a whole, yet we're also singular individuals with unique backgrounds. We may fear that we're too different, too unique, too abnormal, and other people will not understand us. But in reality, it is deeply personal vulnerabilities that echoes with other people. Nowadays, I'm completely liberated from my fear of color. I still have difficulties telling the difference between a dark green and grayish brown. But I simply accept my color vision as it is, or even celebrate it by using brilliant lemon yellow, ultramarine blue, and turquoise green. To rephrase the saying of my singing teacher, you don't need a perfect color vision to make art. Thank you for listening, my friends. Do you have any secrets that you want to share with me? Please leave me a comment or follow me on Instagram. See you next time. Take care.